If you list out cars that make an impression just by driving, it is impossible for the Ford Endeavour not to be on that list. No other vehicle in India screams Murika more than the Ford Endeavour, except for its distant cousin, the Ford Mustang. But we're talking about making an impression here, and the Ford Endeavour does that very well. Be it pulling into a driveway of a 7-star hotel or in the rearview mirror of the car in front of it, the Endeavour announces its arrival. The top spec 3.2-litre Ford Endeavour comes with 4-wheel drive and off-road driving modes as well. So, does this variant tackle rough terrain with equal drama? That's what we found out at the Great Ford Endeavour Drive. The Great Ford Endeavour Drive is an off-road event that was conducted at the Dirt Mania Outdoor Adventures. It was in essence an event to showcase the Ford Endeavour's off-road capabilities to potential and existing customers. Participants were allowed to drive the Ford Endeavour over several obstacles that required brilliant off-road capability to drive over. The good news is that the Ford Endeavour is very capable, and this is what we experienced. Before we get into the drive experience, let's take a look at what the Endeavour has to offer. The Ford Endeavour is a big brute of an SUV. It measures 4,903 mm in length, 1,869 mm in width, and 1,837 mm in height. When it was first launched in 2003, the Ford Endeavour was boxy and square. Over the years though, this changed and it now has curves and design lines all over the car. However, it is still an old school SUV, and that means it still has straight muscular lines all over it. It is available with 2 engine options: a 2.2-litre diesel engine that puts out 158 brake horsepower and 385 Nm of torque, and a 3.2-litre diesel engine that produces 197 brake horsepower and 470 Nm of torque. We drove the 3.2-litre Titanium Plus variant, as it is the only variant that features a 4-wheel drive. It comes loaded with features like traction control, a low-ratio gearbox, locking center and rear differentials, hill descent control, and a terrain management system. The terrain management system consists of 4 drive modes. You have normal, snow or mud, sand, and rock. These modes adjust engine and transmission settings depending on what mode is chosen. Well, we put these features to the test. The drive experience was conducted on a specifically designed course, and professional driving instructors were seated in passenger seats of every car to instruct drivers. We started off with a small incline with the steering wheel completely turned to the left. After driving a short distance, we came to a point where we were asked to turn the wheel completely to the left and slowly let the vehicle go down a slope. The angle of the slope was such that the rear wheel of the SUV was at least 4 feet up in the air. We then hit suspension test sections, which put the suspension through its paces. Up next were 2 inclines and declines. The first one allowed for us to test the climbing capabilities of the SUV in the 4-wheel drive low mode. The low ratio gearbox was engaged via a button on the center console, and at the slightest throttle input, the Ford Endeavour climbed up a huge mound like it were nothing. A quick U-turn later, we were ready for the next obstacle. Here we engaged hill descent control and let go of the control pedals, while the Endeavour gently went down the steep slope at a constant 4 km per hour. While climbing out of the ditch, we tested out the hill hold function. This holds the SUV in place on a slope for 3 seconds, giving the driver ample time to get onto the throttle after letting go of the brake pedal. Up next was the articulation section. It was here that we got all 4 wheels up in the air one by one, and we made use of the rear differential lock. The rear differential lock is engaged using one of the buttons on the center control. This allows the SUV to move forward even if there is no traction on one of the wheels. Soon after, it was time to test the water wading capabilities. Ford claims that the Endeavour has a water wading capability of 800 mm. We got to test it in around 300 mm of slushy water, and the Endeavour did it without breaking a sweat. Up next was the tilt angle test. Ford claims that the Endeavour can safely do a 30-degree tilt. However, to be on the safe side, we only tilt 25 degrees. Finally, we did a bigger articulation test, again with the 4WD low with the rear differentials locked, and it was time to let the next participant take the wheel. It was a brief but brilliant experience, pushing the Endeavour to its limits. This was an event that allowed potential customers to experience the Ford Endeavour showing off its off-road prowess in a safe and controlled environment. For an experience, it was brilliant. To have more fun though, we might have to drive out of a safe and controlled environment, but we guess that's a story for another day. Thank you for watching. Do stay tuned to DriveSpark and subscribe to all our social channels.